Yeah, man. Power to the people. We back at heavy maintenance. This time we gonna get it in because we ain't late, kid. Yeah, Errol Spence, man. Good fight. Bud Crawford. Good fight. I just came back from the flight of Vegas this morning. Yo, man, it was a beautiful situation. All I could say was, man, that my man looked dehydrated. He went a little bit overboard with going through the weight class. And, you know, he was himself. I think around the fourth or the third round, he was starting to feel a little bit apprehended from all the training that he had to go through. So, but big up to him for having a good fight. This don't take nothing away from Terrence Bud Crawford. This don't take nothing away. You was the better man that night. You was the better man that got away that night. But my money still was on Spence. I felt like he knew that this was a bad thing. He just did it for the fans. So we appreciate him for doing that for the fans. Also, we come to the conclusion that we got a new heavyweight, well, a new unified champion of the welterweight department, and that's Terrence Bud Crawford. All hats goes off to him, man. You know what I'm saying? Ain't gonna disrespect the man's talent, but I just saw my boy, who I put my money with, who I was riding with. I didn't think that fight was gonna be that brutal. I didn't think his he was gonna look like that. I mean, we seen boxers look a little bit apprehended from punches and punches and punches, but we didn't see nothing like that, and that was dangerous. That was out of this world. Now, I couldn't even do all the regular theatrics I normally do. I had to come straight out and hit y'all before we get started for the next show later on tonight. So, big up to Terrence Crawford. You know what I'm saying? Big up to both fighters. They came out swinging. They came out doing their thing. I appreciate for both of them for showing the sport. I appreciate both of them for not having to pick up a gun and hurt each other. You know, Terrence Crawford have a story. He said he was put into a position of boxing because in his neighborhood in Omaha, Nebraska, it was tough. He could not become anything else but a boxer because it was tough. He was scared of the people in his. So, other hand, Spence was raised inside this farmland of boxing. He was ready for it. He was groomed for it. So it took 30. It took a lot of years. One guy was 33. The other guy was 36. They came together to make it happen. You know, these guys were farm raised individuals. They wasn't raised in no city concrete jungle. These, besides Mike, Shannon, and Jab Zulu, we came from the jungle. These guys are farm raised. They was on a farm. They was running around chasing cows, and so their era is a little bit different than our era, dealing in Gleason's gym and Bed-Stuy Boxing Association. You know what I'm saying? So our gym training was different from these guys' training. So for him to be the best that he is today, I want to say hats off to Terrence Bud. I love both of them, but I was leaning towards Spence because of the character, because of the atmosphere and what he is, the big fish. You know what I'm saying? So it ain't nothing bad, man. Only thing I know is that we all won. Nobody lost. The whole hood of boxing of that level of atmosphere, we all won, especially dealing with what we dealing with as Afro Americans. So I want to big them up, man, for going out there and putting on the gloves, standing face to face. And not only that, I want to say big up to Errol Spence. After the fight, he went out and did the promotion, talked about the fight, and I like how he came out and was expressing himself even after the fight. But some had said they should have had checked him out. He could have had a concussion. I mean, he always been talking slow. I mean, there ain't nothing new about that. I just think that they had the doctors there. If he didn't feel like he needed it, he didn't need it. So what happened was he did exactly what he was supposed to do. He went out like a man. He went on his shield. He went out there, bruised up, battered up, and still was talking to the community about what took place, and still gave Terrence Bud Crawford his props on pertaining that he was a better fighter that night. But I'm blaming it on the overtraining. I'm blaming it on this got to stop with certain boxes. And, you get to the, it should just be normal. But he stood in that weight class, man, and you can see it in his skin. You know what I'm saying? I want to give a shout out to Deontay Wilder for throwing that at us. That he saw Errol Spence Jr. very, very, very dehydrated. You know what I'm saying? And that right there was the same thing that happened with Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia. You know, the fight was going well, and then when it gets to the point, this dude was trying to come down to a weight class for a person that he didn't have to. So we want to big up Errol Spence for having to do that. That takes a lot of strength. Imagine you being in high school at the age you are, and the age you is today, and you maintaining that same weight to the age you are today. So that's like that. You heard what he said when it was over. He said he can't wait to go home and get some hot dogs and burgers and all sorts of food that he was wishing he could eat during training camp because he lost that weight. So the great Mike Tyson told him that it's time. You don't need to be in this weight class if you're going to hurt yourself. I think you should get ahead and go up, and that should be it, because some people are maintained to be in that weight class, and he joined it. So no one lost. I just think he showed the world that, look, man, in order to get this done, I'll go down to his weight class. Even if I don't get out of this alive, but I'm going to go down to show the world, because why wait? So we know that it was big money involved. We know that it was big sponsors involved. We know that it was just big people, period, involved. But the heart of these two champions was involved, and they definitely came out, made their move, did their thing. I appreciated the fight. I was there. I seen it. I didn't complain. I didn't yell. I was watching strategic. Not only that, Bud definitely did something very, very, very strategic to Spence. Spence didn't pick that up. And if he did pick it up, he didn't counter back. He didn't counter punch or counter attacked it. You understand? So Bud stood southpaw on him, broke him down with the right, went with him. Style of boxing. Son didn't turn. So he stood on the southpaw. Big up to Terrence Crawford, Bo Mack, and his team. They did their thing. They worked hard. Big up to Errol Spence and Mr. Derek and their team. They both was out there hustling, bustling. This thing was a great, beautiful thing. I mean, watch the recap. We came to give our recap today on the boxing situation. It was just beautiful. I'm not upset. I'm not sitting here saying, oh, the people's beat them. This was a good, clean fight. My thing was, Son was dehydrated. It was anticipated long enough. I think the nutritionists and the doctors that was with them, they did good. But Son was dehydrated. There's no loss in it. I mean, there's no excuse, But the point is, keeping that 147 weight level, man, is very, very hard, especially pushing into the excursion of the week coming into the fight. So it was much heavy. He told you it was hot in some of the places where he was at. So it really wasn't nothing but a lot of water. And for him to be depleted and not really have too much food substance, it was kind of a rough fight for him. But he came out and he jumped on it. My thing was, Errol Spence Jr. won that fight from the character of not running from the reporters, not putting on no damn boxing shades, not putting on his hood. He kept the clothes on that he had on, and he went right back out there and he talked, saying that the man, Big Bud, was a better fighter that night. And my whole thing was, it was beautiful. We gonna be back tonight or be back tomorrow. This the end of the month. We got a new pack coming. So you already know, man. Subscribe, like, comment, and share. Don't forget to become a member, because that's what we do. You got to become a member in order to get this flower work. Now, after this, you already know I'm down with the Tigo show. You already know Soapbox Bully with the beats. Hamp Doom coming right out this thing, man. We're going to blow it up. But look, the whole fight was beautiful. Look, man, I feel bad for Canelo and the other kid. He got smacked. That's their problem. But this whole thing was Errol Spence and Terrence Bud Crawford. Two guys that came out with a beautiful fight. My hat goes off to both of them. All power to the peoples. We back at New Maintenance. Yeah, we're going to rock just like Spence and Crawford when they came in. No doubt. We out here. This was just a quick public service announcement pertaining to that situation. Don't worry about it. It could possibly be a part two, depending on how much the money and the revenue turns out to be. Because it depends on Son. Some might not say no. You know what I'm saying? Some might say yes, which means Crawford and his team. But they might just run off and go somewhere else, being that this is what it was. So we won't see if it's another duel or trilogy. I said it yesterday. It might become something in order to get out of those big boxing branches for them to pull all the money to help everybody out. So it could possibly be just that. So stay on the tune and the lookout for these two guys coming back out with something heavy. You never know. This is the Doomite. We came through with something different in a different light, different fight. That big thing last night was a different fight. We back though. Come see you later on tonight. Yeah. We out there. Big up. You know what I'm saying?